What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back on this Wednesday. And there's finally some news we can actually discuss, not just the guessing one, playing the guessing game. Fagioli, I think everybody knows by now. Everybody was expecting it, but nobody knew what was actually going to happen. So, in a nutshell, he's suspended. He's been suspended for 12 months, 7 months real suspension, 5 are like non-effective at this moment in time. He needs to take counsel. He needs to show up at meetings, all those things. But he needs to stay away 7 months from the playing field, basically. What he has gone in his favorite, if you want to call it that, is he can train with the first team. He can still do that as of now until something, maybe they will change it. But as of now, the rules state he can just train with the first team, and he has that going for him at this moment in time. But this will have a big effect on the club, on Allegri, on the player, obviously. But that's something I will talk about as well in this video. But that means that if there were any slight doubts that, we were going to buy a player in January, yes or no, and you had Giuntoli saying maybe not, maybe yes, we will see if there are any opportunities. You cannot hide about it. Like, you cannot hide from it, even if you want to make about, you want to play the, let's see, maybe yes, maybe no game. You just can't, like, everybody knows what needs to happen. So we will discuss that in this video. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and let's get into it. Okay, so like I said, like you see on the thumbnail, there are no excuses. Like, we need players. Allegri needs like real help at this moment in time. Like, you can suggest that, you needed to do better with the team, and I still agree with that. But losing Pogba with doping and Fagioli with a gambling thing has nothing to do with Allegri, nor has points deduction to do with Allegri. These are all things. Not like, I'm not the biggest Allegri fan. Everybody knows that, but no coach should be operating or should work in that type of environment. That's just crazy. And we needed signings. We needed players, obviously, even when nothing had happened. We need that even more so now, because you are down 2 players at this moment in time, basically. One, you might suggest Pogba was never going to play, but he's out numbers-wise. And then Fagioli, who everybody thought was going to feature. Now, was he the main guy this season so far? No, it was Miretti. He was a favorite. And even McKennie to that extent towards in the Torino game. But I think everybody was expecting Fagioli was going to get it back into the team and play a part of it, and you can count on him. Now, you have not him. You have not Pogba. I'm not sure what Nicolosi is doing at the club. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm so confused about that one. There is an issue. You cannot go throughout. You cannot go into the season, like from now until the end of the season, and bank your hopes on Miretti, who still needs to develop. And I agree with that. Look, at this moment in time, you cannot say he will deliver 100% throughout the season. You can. McKennie, who has been doing well this season, but everybody knows he has big limitations, and it's not a player that you're going to look at and you're like, he's going to make the difference. He's going to drag this team to whatever heights. Like, I don't have that feeling personally. I don't think he's that type of player. I don't think he has that in his abilities. So you need to sign players, obviously, because injuries will occur. They will happen throughout the season. It is what it is. So we need to sign players. Who is it going to be? Who knows? That's a big question now, because the names linked are different. Some are the same. Some cost a lot of money. Some look more obvious. Some less obvious. Thuram, it looks obvious profile and age-wise. It doesn't look obvious if you look at the money. And I know there are reports about they like Ealing Jr. We value him at 20 million. We could make something happen. I'm not sure how real those reports are. It feels like it's more the media pushing it. 1 + 1 is 2, basically. Højbjerg, that's for me a real report. I'm not a big fan of his. Like, personally, I was never a big fan of Højbjerg. especially not at this stage of his career and the money Tottenham won, 30 million euros. I think the big name, or like the name everybody's looking at and be like, okay, that makes a lot of sense money wise. The type of deal you can do with Udinese, the profile, the age, what he will offer, excuse me, is Samardzic. I think everybody knows who he is. I think everybody knows what type of footballer he is, what he can offer. I think we lack that, in this midfield, in my opinion. I saw people talking about, what will happen with Sule. I don't think that's very linked. I think Sule is a winger. I think he's more of a number 8 or could be a very good attacking midfielder, Samardzic. It feels like, okay, that's the obvious choice. One, his wages are not that big. And two, if you look at the type of deal Inter had done last summer, and I could be completely wrong because it was it was a strange deal. It was a very cheap loan deal, a U player included, a buy option very low, and then the money afterwards, I don't know, after 2 years. It was a very strangely constructed deal, but if you look at it, you're like, that's a steal, the way the fee, the total packages were, and how it was constructed. Now, you also need to find, which player are we going to include potentially in that deal. Like, that's a different subject. But it feels like, okay, Samardzic is the right option, or like the most obvious player. Why? Because for I said, also he's playing Serie A. I think it's very easy to plug him in, more so than in Højbjerg, more so than in Thuram, who's still young, needs to come from a different league and adapt mid-season. That feels like, if you're going to do that deal, that feels like more of a summer type of deal. And Samardzic is kind of, how do you want to say it? Like, his name is coming up more and more. The Tutto Sport report was a bit, taking the piss out of us, saying, Vlahovic called them and said, come on. That was a very strange report, a report that doesn't sound very real. But then Nico Shiro backed it up, and you know what? Other journalists are talking about it, and you can see more rumblings. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen. Doesn't mean he is the number 1 target, whatever. But I think he's a serious option to consider in January for the reasons I just mentioned. Because what Fagioli did was stupid. It's, some might say, some will call it a disease, and I'm gonna say yes or no because I'm not a gambling addict. Like, I'm not that, so I cannot speak on that. If I'm being completely honest, I just can say that, you know what, you are. I'm gonna call it, like, you're in that position. You're not, like, you're stupid, and it cost the club, big time, mid-season, and it could cost you not your career, but your future at the club. And not in terms of that the club will be like, goodbye in the summer. You did this. We don't want to hear about from you anymore. I don't think that. I think what will cost him is, he already was struggling to get into the team. Miretti was a choice, basically. And now you're gone for the entire season, meaning Miretti will play. They will buy a player that will also get integrated mid-season, not so in the summer. So we will be, or should be, integrated going to the next season. What does that mean for you the following season? Because you're already struggling to keep your position now, and we were like 2 months into the season. What does that mean if you're gone for 7 months? So that's something to look at down the line. I'm not feeling sorry. Like, I'm not going to lie. If that's the case, if somebody comes in, takes a spot, and he will become a bench player, or the club is like, you know what, we can cash in, then you know what, that you only have yourself to blame. So I'm not going to worry about that. What I'm going to worry about is there's an issue, numbers-wise in the squad. It's a big issue, an issue that has nothing to do with Allegri. Like, nobody chose for that. But it has put us in a very difficult situation until January, and that's quite a lot. Like, I don't know how many games there are until January. Let me check, because that's actually a good thing to know. Bear with me. Let me check. That's not correct. Let me get this. So we play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12 games, and then we almost have no break, so until let's say 11, 12 games until we can sign players. There's no real break this summer. We play out because there's the Euro. So it puts puts us in a very difficult situation. Maybe not now, because everybody is fit in midfield, knock on wood. But moving into the season, and then you might see Junior Mezzala or McKennie playing more, or Yield is dropping in, and that's things I don't like, because you're forcing players out of position to do a job when they will be more helpful playing their natural position. So let's see how that will develop. But that's the situation at this moment in time. And let me know what you make about it. The Fagioli one, the Samardzic link. Maybe you have somebody else. Maybe you have a different opinion. Let me know in the comments, and like this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.